Another thing too is we also have fear. We have fear. We have fear, and we have things that happened to us as a kid. When you had experiences as a child, you put memory where? The temporal lobe, right? Problems with abuse, problems with things that happened to you then, and all this other stuff. When you go to therapy, they're going to ask you what happened, okay? So what exactly are you doing? You're taking a memory that was placed in your temporal lobe as a child. That's a child's memory. It's not a judgmental memory, it's not a smart memory, it's of a kid, okay? But then you're trying to take it and trying to make it an adult memory. It's not an adult memory, because your judgment, what you did and did not do, is of a child. You see what I mean? Another thing too is what's going to happen is as you go through this fragmented memory, and what's happened, you put stuff in there that was scary. Some of the scariest people doing cocaine, methamphetamine, arguments, you know, with your spouse or wife, or things that you did that were crazy. But you have to remember that those are fragmented memories, okay? Now, as you get sober and you go back to the house, you go back to the job, you go back to taking care of whoever you're going to take care of, then what's going to happen is you're going to have cues that happen throughout that day, which suddenly those cues are going to go through your head, back through your central processing unit to the memory area, and going to associate something that happened before, right? And so what's going to happen then? Fear and panic attacks. Why is that? Because you had, you know, there's things in there that was unsettled and fearful to you, but then also you have to understand one thing, that that is a memory. It's in your head, right? So what you do is you look at your environment and you say, is there anything threatening right now? Because it's threatened, and stress is where? In your head, right? So when you're in a situation where you're afraid, you have to look at your environment and say, what's the threat? Is there a real threat here? See what I mean? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to deal with threat, and you're trying to also understand your anxiety. Because if you let your anxiety run, then what you're going to do is you're going to have a panic attack, and you're going to be reaching for anything you can do to take just to calm yourself down, right? Without actually using your brain to understand, you know, why your brain is doing this. It's because of stuff that you've had in your memory, which may be fragmented or not fragmented. So what I want you guys to get used to now, when you get upset, don't close off like this, you know, to where you're closing off your environment. Open up your eyes, take a look, and say, what's the threat? You know, look around in a room. Or is this just a cue? A cue is something to where, you know, the dog runs in. The last time the dog ran in here like that, you know, your family came and glued on you or something, you know, and everything else like that. It's just not, you know, that was just the dog, right? So you have to understand that there are things that are cues. You guys have to start thinking about your environment and what's causing the fears and causing you to have an increased amount of anxiety and then relapse, okay? Because it is in here. So you got to get data, got to put new data. There is no threat. Okay, this is something I had before. I've had it where I've had panic attack. Even a year ago, brought in a tractor, you know, brought in a guy putting in a, you know, a tank, a brand new septic tank for me, and all of a sudden I had a panic attack because his boom was right next to a wire. And I didn't know what the heck, why am I doing this? Come on, get your act together. What's the threat? What it was, I had a big bull. I got a ranch, and the bull got out. You know, he liked chocolate chip cookies. And went over on a neighbor's thing and tore down their fence and screwed up everything over there, and I had to pay a landscaper to put in there, right? Well, guess whose telephone wire that was? The neighbor's. You know what I mean? I couldn't put it together then. Then I realized that's, you know, because the mind is so complex, very unique, that it'll develop these little tricks on you to which you don't know why you're having a panic attack. But if you sit down, it took me about 2 or 3 minutes to figure it out. So we have to try to remember, you know, what's causing us anxiety. I have to look at the threat and figure out why we're doing it. Dreams are also things that we remember, and we have to dream. And the dreaming is also making room in our brain for more ability to remember things.